conference. As a courtesy, please silence your cell phones. And note, recording this press conference on your phone or camera is not allowed, nor is flash photography. We are joined now by Utah State student athletes Mason Foslov, Dexter Acano, Ian Martinez, and Aubin Gadaresi. At this time, we will take your questions for the student athletes. Please raise your hand and we will bring a microphone to you. Third row on the right.
It's Jason Walker with Cache Valley Daily. I'll ask Mason this, just now you've had a chance to, watch some film on UCLA and do some prep. What have you learned the most about the Bruins and preparing for them and what you guys are going to face?
Obviously, they're a big team and they're more defense orientated. So, we got to push in transition and, just try and rebound the basketball.
Back row on the left.
Ben Bulch, Los Angeles Times. There's not a lot of guys in college basketball or in basketball at all who are 7'3", and UCLA has one in Adai Mara. What did you think of him when you saw him in the scouting, and how would you combat that in a game if you got a heavy dose of him?
We got to try to use our speed just to beat him. Obviously, like you just mentioned, he's 7'3", really tall. Luckily, he's not too heavy, so we can still, fight that physically to some extent, but most with speed will be ideal to beat him.
On the right, last row.
Jeff Hunter with the Desert News. Dex, just wondering if you were able to offer any insight into UCLA, having been in Oregon State, and obviously you have a lot of new personnel, but probably familiar with how they play.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, been playing against them for about 3-4 years, and definitely know a little bit about their personnel. Their guard plays really well. They're really oriented around their bigs. So playing with Tyler Billito last year, they got their other transfer, number 3, and then also Mara coming off the bench. They're going to be, focusing on them and kind of how they play. So just focusing on rebounding the ball and then pushing it in transition, that's going to be huge for us.
On the right, third row.
Jason Walker again with Cache Valley Daily. I want to follow up with you, Dexter, about being teammates with Tyler for a couple of years. What insights you have on him and the way that he's playing, especially the way he's playing this year for the Bruins.
Right. I mean, just first and foremost, I'm very proud of him, and really just proud of our team as well. Just being able to be at this stage, and just thank God for putting us in this position today. Just a blessing going into this next game, playing against him, and just seeing his progress throughout the years. Just a hard worker, and I was going to be excited playing against him. As far as the way that he plays, we kind of all know that, he's focused on kind of the mid-range and popping out to 3, facing up, taking different fadeaway jumpers and stuff like that. So just trying to be physical with him is going to be big for us.
On the left, third row.
Sean Harrison with the Herald Journal. Dexter, can you just talk about, this is your first NCAA tournament. These other guys have been here before, but talk about your thoughts and feelings on getting to the NCAA tournament for the first time.
Right. No, again, all glory to God. This is a huge blessing for me, and just being with this team has been a lot, meant a lot for us and meant a lot to me as well. Just trying to soak it all in, enjoy the moment, and just keep it going as long as I can. So just enjoying this.
On the right, third row.
Gary Graves, Associated Press. A lot gets made about time changes when you have to travel, especially when you have to travel east for this. How much does it help you guys to kind of play a game at a time that you all are used to in your time zone? I mean, how much of an effect on your body clock does that have with the travel, and how does that help, that you're playing kind of at a time you're used to?
I think it can be helpful just for us to kind of stay in our routine. You know, everybody kind of has their own routine, and we also have one as a team, you know. And so not having that big of a time change is just beneficial when just resting and preparation before the game. So, yep.
On the right,
I just want to ask Auburn, you know, obviously UCLA liking to post up a lot. What have you seen from them as far as defending their post up bigs? Obviously very talented bigs. What kind of preparation have you been able to do to be ready for that?
Yeah, I mean, like Dexter mentioned, it's going to be huge to be very physical. Don't let Mara get close to the rim because with his size, it's pretty easy for him to get the ball in the hoop. So really being physical, being aggressive, get the rebounds, and get in transition, use our speed to beat their size.
on the left, third row.
Sean Harrison again. Mason and Ian, can you just talk a little bit about how you've helped some of the younger guys on this team get ready for this experience? I know that you talked a little bit on Sunday, but what have you done in the last couple of days to get the rest of the team ready for this experience at the tournament?
Can we start with Ian?
I mean, I think like the main part of just this whole experience is just reminding everybody that this is a time that, you know, we all wait for. This what we've been preparing for since we came together in May, June. So obviously at first you may feel some type of pressure or whatever it is, you know, anxiety, whatever. So just kind of reminding them that, you know, they got to have fun. We all got to have fun just as a team. We still come out here and compete, but I feel like that's one of the main things that we got to keep in mind.
Mason?
Yeah, you know, I agree with Ian. For all the young guys coming in, like, this is an amazing moment and something you dream about for a long time, and just go out and have fun. That's what I've been telling all the guys is, you know, it's been a long time since we played a team like UCLA, you know, so just go out and enjoy it and embrace it. You know, don't hide from it. Go out and show the world what you can do.
On the right, at the end of the third row.
For Mason, what do you feel like your conference or your program and in playing in that conference, the style that they play is something that you know people don't know about that you all hope to bring to the tournament?
You know, I think the Mountain West is pretty physical, and I think especially our team, we do a little something different. You know, we play a matchup zone, whatever you want to call it. So I'm excited to see how teams handle that. You know, it's hard to play against a different defense. I think a lot of these teams are used to just seeing man-to-man all the time, so it'll be fun to throw a little bit of zone / man-to-man at them.
Right here.
Jason Walker again. I want to ask Auburn, you know, we asked Ian and Mason about their tournament experience. You were in the tournament last year with Stetson, obviously with a different team, so has anything changed for you this year, being with a different team, albeit in the tournament once again?
Yeah, it's very different. First of all, last year was like my first time in New York, so the atmosphere is very different. But in here, I feel like I'm very confident in our team to be able to make a run in the March Madness. I feel like I got all the tools to be, if we do what we can do the best, I'm sure we're going to be great and win a couple games. So, and then last year we obviously played back-to-back champions, so we try to do our best, but obviously it didn't go the way we wanted. As of here, I'm super confident in our team.
Back row on the right.
Scott Gerard, KSL Sports. Mason, this is your third NCAA tournament in 3 years. I know you redshirted that first year and didn't play, but 3 different coaching staffs, 3 different styles of play. What's been the common element throughout those 3 years that have allowed these teams to be as successful as you've been 3 years in a row?
One thing that's been similar with all 3 teams is, you know, the way we get along on and off the court. I think we got the same type of bond this year. You know, we all get along. We all want the best for each other, and we all want each other to succeed. So I think that's the common denominator.
Anything else? One last question here on the right.
Jason Walker again. I want to ask this to Ian and Mason because last year you were on a team that broke like a 20-year run of Utah State not having won an NCAA tournament game. So what kind of changes this year where Monkey's kind of off the program's back with getting that win last year? What's the goal? Obviously, you want to win the first game at least, but are there further goals now that kind of that initial barrier got broken last year?
Obviously, last year we were very excited, to, like you mentioned, have broken that kind of streak or drought, whatever you want to call it. But we have the same goal this year, We believe in our team. I think we have a lot of depth, a lot of great guys. We have the talents, we have the tools to get on the run. So it's the same goal. We're trying to get as far as we can.
Yeah, it'll be awesome making a run. And, I think our team is capable of it. And one thing about our team, you never know who's going to go off. We have so many capable scorers and so many people that can do so many things. It's hard to prepare for. That's one thing I don't think we really had as much last year, but I'm excited to see what some guys can step up and do this year.
Great. Thanks for your time. Gentlemen, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
At this time, I'm going to welcome to Lexington, Utah State head coach Jared Calhoun. Coach, we appreciate your time. And if you would, please start us off with an opening comment, and we'll take some questions from the media.
Yeah, I think our team is extremely excited to be here. It's a lot of hard work making the NCAA tournament. We have 9 new players, so seeing these guys come together for one common goal. Our motto in our program is we over me, and I think our kids have really, really done a great job of carrying that out throughout the year. So we're really excited to be here.
A reminder to media to please wait until the microphone comes your way before asking your question. Also, please identify yourself and your media outlet before asking your question each time. On the back on the left.
Ben Balch, Los Angeles Times. Coach Cronin talked about knowing you well. Can you talk about your relationship with him, how you got to know him, and how it's evolved over the years?
Yeah, we never worked together, but we kind of, came up under the same coach, and Bob Huggins. Never crossed paths. Mick's path is very similar to mine. He started off as a high school assistant coach, worked in the video room at Cincinnati, and obviously has worked his way up to one of the elite coaches in the country. So I've had a great deal of respect for him, and he's just given me a lot of advice over the years, whether I was at the Division II level, Youngstown State, or currently at Utah State. So we joked probably about 10 days ago. We talked for close to an hour that night about his team, about my team, about the current landscape of college basketball, some of his beliefs, philosophies, and sure enough, here we are playing each other in the first round. So we go way, way back.
Let's stay on this side on the left, third row.
Sean Harrison with the Herald-Journal. Coach, do you know Coach Cronin's team better than he knows your team, or who do you think knows the other team better?
I probably have watched more of his games than he has watched of ours. I watch about 3 or 4 teams, Sean, throughout the year. Obviously, you watch a lot of your friends' teams. I could tell you and recall a lot of plays of the Boston Celtics this year because Joe's obviously a good friend of mine. But UCLA is a team I've watched. My uncle passed away a few years ago, and he was the biggest Bruin fan ever. Can't tell you how much he loved the Bruins. So, to be playing these guys in this storied program and the history is pretty neat. So I've watched them, I'd say 7 to 8 times live throughout the year, and then obviously the last 2 days, ton of tape.
On the right, third row.
Jason Walker with Cache Valley Daily. I just want to ask about the tournament experience your team has. I mean, 3 of the guys that were up here have been in 1 or 2 games. Other players on the team have been in this tournament, won a game. Just how much of an impact can that have on the team getting here and just being prepared mentally as well as, on the court?
Jason, I think everything is experience. It's continuity. It's confidence. It's swagger. right? You got to have all that. So to have Mason and Ian and Fish and Carson and Jackson Smith, part of last year's team that beat TCU in the first round, and then obviously Auburn having that game experience against UConn is critical, right? Just being able to handle and manage, the hoopla of this, right? I've been pretty fortunate. I've been part of a couple Sweet 16s and a Final Four run, so I've seen this, as a guy that was part of a staff. It's different on the kids. To me, it's you got to block out the noise. You have to stay off social media. I think there's so many things out there that can distract you. Just stay focused. Have that belief that you can beat anybody, and anybody can, right? Tomorrow starts the greatest tournament that we have in the United States, right? It's the greatest tournament there is. I mean, there's going to be millions and millions of people watching. It's what makes college basketball so unique, but I do think having that experience will certainly help. UCLA was not in the tournament last year. They're hungry. I've read Mick's quotes. I know the hard work that he went through, the frustration of last year. They're a storied program. They're expected to make deep tournament runs. So they're going to have swagger. They're going to have confidence. There's no reason the Aggies can't as well.
Let's go back here on the left.
Ben Balch, Los Angeles Times. UCLA is 9-0 this season when Adai plays 15 or more minutes. Knowing that stat, are you hoping you can keep him to 14 minutes? And what's the best way to counteract somebody who's 7'3" at this level?
Yeah, I mean, he's massive. He's only going to get better. Tremendous young talent. I think one of the most, talented young players in college basketball. You can see when he gets going in a game, he gets that swagger and he gets that confidence. It's a lot of times it's easy baskets. He's one of the best lob threats we have in college basketball. Mick does a tremendous job of putting him in Spain actions, high pick and roll. So, your ball screen defense against him has to be really good. You got to do a tremendous job of playing physical, because if he catches the ball on the block, you have no shot. Right, so you got to play physical against him. He's certainly one of those guys on their roster that nobody has that, right? Nobody has that height in today's game. We saw it last year with Zach Edey. We saw it firsthand as a program, so we're certainly aware of him.
On the right, third row.
Gary Graves, Associated Press. Coach, you've been able to maintain the program's postseason continuity. I guess 3 years running with three different coaches. When you kind of look back on your arrival, how do you think you were able to kind of change your approach to coaching, especially with the transfer portal and other things like NIL?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think certainly college basketball has changed. You have to have a very, very good plan. You have to have partnership. I was very fortunate to get the Utah State job, right? Diana Sabo, took a gamble on a coach that, really had no ties to the West Coast, right? I think so much nowadays you don't have to have ties to certain areas. I think if you can relate to the players, you can be there for them, you can hear their story, you have a system that works inside that league. Every job is different. You have to have a strategic plan. We wanted to be different. We wanted to play fast. We wanted to play a lot of guys. Our NIL, we had an event the other night. We raised $1 million in one night. Last year, we didn't have that for this year's roster. We didn't have that for the entire roster, right? So I think that shows the commitment from our university, that shows you the commitment from Cache Valley. The awareness is very real. And I think kids like playing in our system. We give them a lot of freedom. If you're open, our whole system is find, create, and keep advantages, right? We want to be disruptive defensively, but we want our guys to have great confidence on the offensive end. We're one of the best passing teams in the country. We're one of the most efficient teams. We take a lot of pride in that, making the right play. Tomorrow's matchup will be all about ball security. They're going to come after us in the half court, full court. We want the game, to play fast. We want to open this game up. We want to see if we can get up and down with them.
Third row here on the right.
Jason Walker with Cache Valley Daily. What can you say about the health of the team? I know Carson and Ian were both kind of banged up after the conference tournament. What has their status been like this week? through the practicing and getting ready for this week?
Yeah, Jace, Carson got a shot 2 days ago, did not practice yesterday. He's feeling really good, so he'll practice today. Ian is, progressing pretty nicely. Part of having great seasons, you got to have some luck, right? And luck is a big part of it. We've got a tremendous training staff. I think Brandon Buskey does as good a job as any strength coach in the country. I think our doctors, Dr. Pickett, I think has done a tremendous job. He's really invested in our program, and I think Brett Ritter is maybe one of the best trainers I've ever been around. He spends a ton of time with our guys, a lot of countless hours. Guys do a tremendous job of taking care of their bodies. So I feel pretty good, Jason, about where we're at health-wise.
Back row on the right.
Jeff Hunter with the Desert News. Coach, could you just talk a little bit about what this means to you personally, being here for the first time as a head coach and also playing a storied program like UCLA at a place like Rupp Arena?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be prepared for every day. We've really went at this thing for a long time. I've been a head coach for 13 years. You put a lot of time, a lot of sacrifice on your family, a lot of recruiting trips, a lot of individual workouts, a lot of skill instruction, a lot of meetings. There's a ton that goes into college basketball, especially with the portal and NIL. It's really, we'll have a few weeks in May to kind of catch our breath. We'll have a few weeks in August. So probably about a month total is all you get, in this sport. So to me, it's about living in the moment, being present. I've shut down social media months ago. I don't take a ton of calls. I'll talk to a few coaches. I just really, really want to pour everything into our guys every day, and we've done that. So personally, it's not about the coach. It's about the players. We've got 3 seniors. This is their last go. I want to do everything I can in my power to put them in a good position to go make plays and be confident. We owe it to those guys. And I think, our mindset right now is pretty good. The last 2 weeks we haven't played great basketball. You got to call it like it is. But it's your full body of work. Our resume was really, really good. We ended up getting the highest seed in the Mountain West along with New Mexico. So we've played good teams. UCLA is a great team, but we've played St. Mary's. We've played Iowa. We've played San Diego State. We've played Boise, New Mexico. We've played really, really good basketball teams to prepare us for this moment. So I tell our guys, play green, right? Next play mentality, play connected, and put the team over yourself.
Third row here on the left.
Sean Harrison with the Herald Journal. Mason was just telling us about the depth. Anybody can go off. Could you expound a little bit about the depth? That's been a big part of this team is different guys, different nights playing well.
Yeah, I mean, it really starts with Ian and Mason buying into that philosophy. Every coach has a different style. Some coaches play slow, some play fast, some play short bench, some play man zone. I think every team you have is going to be a little bit different. When we started constructing this roster, one thing we soon realized is we're going to be pretty versatile. Our guards are going to be very, very versatile. We're going to beat teams with speed. We're going to be able to play a lot of guys. We certainly did not think Jordy Barnes, he and I laugh about this all the time, would be in our top 10. He closed games out at St. Mary's, at Iowa, at San Diego State. So he's a guy that's outperformed any of our expectations. So we were looking at about a 9 or 10-man rotation, and now we're up to 10 or 11. So we're going to sub early and often tomorrow. We're going to switch our defenses up. We're going to play fast. We're going to play slow. We have the ability to play a lot of different ways. Sometimes you got to adjust to the way the game's being played. But I love our depth, and I love that the kids bought into that. In today's environment, it's very, very hard to get guys to sacrifice. And when you got a guy like Mason Falslev that's the ultimate competitor, he really believes in that, it's easier for the other guys to follow it.
One last question, back row on the right.
Coach Scott Gerard with KSL Sports. You mentioned Coach Hout. You brought him on because his defense was such a nightmare to prepare for. If you have not seen this zone, if you haven't prepared for it, how difficult is it in the span of 4 days to try to prepare for it and simulate it in practice and get ready for it?
Well, if there's one coach that can prepare for it, it's Coach Cronin. He actually played it. This originated from Ralph Willard, which worked for Rick Pitino, which Mick worked for Rick Pitino. So there's a lot of things that Mick understands about it. There's things we can do throughout the game to adjust, to try to make it difficult on them. But he played this at Cincinnati. So I think on a one-day prep, it's very difficult. I think obviously UCLA has known for a while they're playing us. He knows the zone. What he decides to run against it, I don't know. Sometimes teams run their man stuff. Sometimes teams run their zone stuff. But there's also things, Scotty, we can do to adjust throughout the game. One thing we have to do, whether you're playing man or zone, is guard the ball. We've done a really, really poor job of that lately. It doesn't matter what defense you play. If you don't guard the ball, it's not very good. It's just like football. If you don't tackle, you're not very good. So the basics are really important to this defense. And I think it could be definitely a challenge for teams. We'll have to see how it plays out tomorrow.
Great, Coach. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck. Media is reminded Hammond Communications will post a recording of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at nca.veritone.com. Transcripts are provided by ASA